Welcome to FSOD Coach's Corner. We are honored to have John Brubaker from Penn Manor here. John, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on tonight. You got me right on prime time with like Monday Night Football. That's
I
pretty
know.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I know everybody's kind of, looking in different directions or whatever like that. But, it's been so much fun for me. I mean, so everybody knows we've been broadcasting the Penn Manor football games, and I got to really meet John, even going back to the scrimmage there when you played Governor Mifflin. I mean, you went, toe to toe with those guys or whatever like that. So talk a little bit about, the expectations for this football team this season and where the team is, to date.
Well, our expectation, leading into this season, throughout the summer and into the preseason, a little different thing about this year's team is we have a bit of a stock of linemen, and that's something I haven't quite had in the past at Penn Manor. We typically have tried to take that 185, 190-pound linebacker who's a pretty tough kid and make him an offensive lineman. We have some offensive linemen this year, so that's been very encouraging. Throughout.
You're even playing them in the backfield.
Yeah, a little bit, right? So we're putting them to good use. So that's been a blessing here lately. For whatever reason, struggled to get some of those kids out. But I got a group of kids now that have a great work ethic and have really bought in. So that in itself on both sides of the ball, on the offense and defensive lines have really helped us move forward. We've had some great skilled kids in the past number of years, and we have some great kids this year. But without a line of scrimmage being taken care of, you're gonna have a hard time moving the ball and putting points on the board. So we've been making steady improvement there, and we feel like in a couple of our games we left some points on the board. But our goals have been big, and the kids have bought into those goals. And one of the biggest things that we tried to focus on this year that is finishing on empty, finishing every game, and having two games in a row that like really come down to like last plays. You can't educate it any better than that. You can't emulate it any different than that. But we went on a Hail Mary, and then we turned around and stopped Solanco on a fourth down. So those were big moments, and the kids are enjoying that. The kids are playing hard for four quarters. They have that don't quit attitude. We'll see how far it takes us. Somebody asked me, "Hey, are these two wins like signature moments?" I don't know. We'll see 5 more weeks down the road after 10 games how much of a signature moment they were, but they were definitely moments that have begun to change the culture here in a positive way.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool, Coach, because I've been fortunate over the last a couple of years, to be able to work with a couple of young men from your football program. So
Yeah.
The thing that's been really cool is, and I've always talked to those guys, like the trend, you guys have been trending towards this. And each year, like the numbers that you guys have, the size you had, and this year, looking at that team, the size of the guys, like, see your linemen, and I noticed that in that first game against Conestoga Valley, I said, man, they're really big up front. And it just is cool to hear you say it. It's like, over the years, that's where you struggle, because you always had the skill position, but now you have the line, and then not only do you have the line, you have the toughness behind it. So obviously, due to COVID, obviously we know that was an issue. What do you think was the biggest thing that helped you guys this offseason to get you in a position now where you're a 4-1 team?
Well, leading into the season, we have a great group of kids that are really bought into off-season strength training program.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about some of our big kids. Like Evan Jurgensen's probably one of the bigger kids that I've ever coached and seen on the offensive line. And Evans has lost some weight, so he's down to like 330 some pounds.
Right.
He was a lot more than that. He's about 6'7", but he's a senior. Last year he suited up, but he struggled getting in a stance and coming off the ball just because his his muscular structure couldn't support all that size and weight. So
Right.
that kid has devoted himself for 365 days from the end of the last season, the beginning of this season. It's not quite 365 yet, but a full off season in strength training. It's really started to pay dividends for him, as it is for some other kids. But there's a big kid without that all season training. He's still struggling getting out of his stance and
Yeah.
coming off the ball. He's a different kid now just because he's gaining some strength. And he's maturing a little bit, but he's huge.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
the off-season program is the biggest stuff. Bruce, what are you gonna say?
No, I was going to say too, the thing for me anyway, and obviously being involved with the program and doing some broadcasting or whatever like that. I love your coaching staff. I mean, these guys are so animated and so involved with these guys. Talk a little bit about your coaches and how they've invested themselves in making this team better.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, over the, I guess, 7 years I've been at Penn Manor, there's only one coach that's still with me since I started. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but we certainly have a nice blend of coaches right now. A couple that are former players, and I think I like Ben Schober, who's been around Penn Manor football for a long time, who's helping us out and doing a great job. He's a Penn Manor alumni and is highly invested in the sports at Penn Manor. Joel Bowes is a coach that worked with the middle school and then prior to that the youth football programs, and he's really been a big asset and has helped us out offensively. Our offensive line coach and our run coordinator is Lance Baird. So he comes from outside the school district, but he interviewed for the job a couple years ago, and he's been a big asset. If you're looking for like energy and emotion, just stand around him. He brings a lot of it.
I totally agree with you there.
You know,
And then
so
Dan Kreider too was
and then we got
I
Dan
mean,
Kreider on
special
staff. So
guy.
he is a special guy. Dan brings a lot of input to the coaching staff. He brings a lot of value. He has a lot of experience, obviously, but usually when Dan's a little more soft spoken, but when Dan talks, people tend to listen, and Dan's always got a lot of great ideas. So in that sense, we've got a nice blend of coaches. We're not all crazy running around like our hair's on fire all the time, but I think we have we complement one another very well. Cody Ewing is another coach, and then Mitch King is a teacher at the school. Works with the secondary and the receivers. So I'm happy with our staff right now, and it's for all of us. This is our second year together, but like I said, a couple guys that have been with me more than that, but it's tough in this day and age to keep high school football coaches, where nobody's overpaid
Right.
and everybody's overworked in a sense, but the coaches have bought in and they love our kids. They believe in our kids and what we want to do.
Well, like I said, one of the most impressive things for me has been, how you and your coaching staff have worked, with the players and, getting them ready to go is something special. But you talked about, that this crescendo of the team and how it's really kind of brought the school together too. Talk a little bit about, the whole community and school aspect and how the football team is bringing the school together.
Yeah, it's been fun, and that's one of the greatest things about high school football. When you get the school involved, that's one part of it. You get parents involved, that's one part of it. Then you start getting the community involved. You can get those three main legs involved there. It can be a lot of fun. I'm beginning to see that. You got a lot of people connecting with me that are part of the community, or they see a Penn Manor football hat or shirt on, and hey, we were at the game or we watched the game, and That kind of stuff's fun, and the kids are realizing that too, and are experiencing it around the community. So yeah, we hope to keep building on that and keeping it going. It's all part of building a culture in a community, in a school, in a program, and we hope to continue to be a part of that, keep growing that for sure.
What has been the biggest turnaround for you guys? You know, a lot of times, because over the last couple of years, you guys always lost really close games. What has been the difference for this year, where you're getting in the game, like you said, it's a Hail Mary, or you guys finish it? What happened, or what think you have done in off season? So now when you get to the point, instead of losing those games, those guys are winning those big tough games.
Right, and that's been a psychological thing to overcome.
Mhm.
It's believing in yourself and believing that something can happen, and that's sometimes that's a hard buy-in for kids these days.
Mhm.
It's easy to quit. It's easy not to believe. I think our kids have a pretty strong belief in what we're doing. We set some pretty high standards for them.
Mhm.
Um, we're competitive a little bit more. Maybe in practice, we're competitive in the weight room. Those types of little things I think continue to add up. But there's just a different demeanor about a group right now that's been great. Um, a supportive group of parents at home from home that have been great as well. And
Right.
right now, that's my best answer. But I think those things are feeding into
Right. Absolutely.
some of that change. You've got more than just the kid that cares. Everybody outside, they're seeing cares as well, and that's certainly carrying over. It's like I said, it's a little bit of that culture building, and
Mhm.
that's starting to take effect. I've been doing like spring flag football for the past couple, well, since I got there, so it's been 7 years. We started out the first year, there was like 120 kids in the elementary schools that did spring flag football. Just an off-season thing, but last year, well, we had a COVID year there, so we didn't have it. But this past spring, we did have it again. We had like 325
Wow.
kids
Wow.
participate, which is fantastic. Our high school players coach the kids, and we do like 4 Sundays, and we have like one final like playoff thing. It's kind of geared around the school spring fling, so it's kind of like it's under the lights over at Comet Field. It's pretty cool for the younger kids. So that type of thing I believe is beginning to pay off. We're starting to see some of those kids that I have now on the team. Hey, yeah, we remember playing flag football, and it's just that small steps at a time, but those little things begin to pay off, I think. And some of those kids finally get to that point that they're in ninth grade, 10th grade, and you're like, you know what? They begin to believe in the program. I hope that's what's happening.
Right.
Well,
You can see it because they're. I mean, again, like you, when you're getting it done in the games, when there's close games like that, and they're winning games and they're dominating, like that says everything. I mean, about the program. So the buy-in, as you just said, that buy-in is, and you just have to believe. So now, if you're in a situation, you're down 14-3 in the fourth quarter, and you guys just believe, and then all of a sudden they come back, they win that game. I think at that point, like what you guys are at now, those guys, like the game, until it says zeros on those clock, man, let's keep fighting. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
awesome to hear.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Thanks, Darryl.
you got a pretty big and special game this upcoming Friday. That's the game that we'll be broadcasting here, where Wilson comes into town, and we talked previously. I mean, that you have never beaten Wilson. Wilson kind of reeling a little bit. You're on the upswing. How electric is it going to be this Friday night at Millersville?
I think it's going to be pretty crazy. Wilson may be reeling a little bit. They've had a good preseason. They played some good teams.
Right.
So our kids are excited about it. And the big thing about the game, we talked about it a little bit Saturday morning when the kids come in, and you could see a little bit of it in their eyes, and a little bit they're nodding a little bit. They're looking forward to the game Friday night. In the past, I felt like we wanted to show up and be respectable. Obviously we always wanted to win, but to get
Right.
the kids to believe, I mean, we're going to give a great battle. Whoever wins or loses, I'm sure will be deserving. But I guarantee our kids are going to come out the battle. They're going to come out the win. That's been a difference. Like, some of these big schools, they read too much in the paper. They listen to too many podcasts or whatever.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
oh wow, that mystique of Wilson. It give them credit. It's fantastic what they've done. But in any case, I think our kids are actually looking forward to the game.
Mhm.
Very much so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And it'd be exciting to see, because again, I coached there in 2007 when Mealy was there. So I
Correct.
remember we used to play those games and those stands being packed at over there in Millersville. I mean, it was just amazing, and it'd be really cool to see it get back to that, being like those stands being full and that crowd being. And I think the kids will feed off of that. Like I said, you'll be surprised what that crowd can do. Now that having fans back,
Absolutely.
and it'd be exciting. So I was, like I said, Wilson is Wilson, and they're gonna be ready to go. But to hear and to know that those guys are like, they have that look in the eyes, like, Coach, we're ready to go give it our all and to see what happens. So that's pretty exciting to hear.
Yeah, it is. It is exciting to hear. And I can understand, the change in culture watching, your team play this year. I can understand why they're confident, because they go out and they just kind of punch people in the mouth. You're a very, very physical team. I think that's obviously, you talked about the fact that you got some size up front, but you're out there and it's mano a mano and you go after everybody and you play a great brand of football. And it's a lot of fun for me, I can tell you that. So all I can say, Coach, is it's going to be a lot of fun on Friday night when you strap them up against Wilson there to try and get your first victory over the Bulldogs. So any final comments, Coach, before we let you go?
No, I just I want to thank everybody that's been involved with our program, even behind the scenes. If they're listening, a shout out to them. A lot of people do a lot of things to make a program good, to make a good program great. It's more than one person. I appreciate you asking about the assistant coaches on our staff. They're a big part of it. Have a great booster organization, a great a support group. Football's it takes a lot of different hands in the pot to run a good program, and I hope we're getting there. I mean, 4-1's great. Our kids are excited about it. Section 1 starts this week.
Right.
So,
right.
We have some great teams in Section 1. So, we'll see how we do. I'm looking forward to it. So, Bruce and Darryl, thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Looking forward to broadcasting the game. I know it's going to be exciting out there. Coach John Brubaker, thank you so very much from Penn Manor, and I'll see you Friday night, okay?
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care,
All right.
gentlemen.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
Bye-bye.